What's up, world, and welcome back to the Global Frequency. I am your host, Nefarious.
And I'm Frequency Girl.
And tonight we've got a very special guest, Chris Ouellette, here with 8 Ball Studios to tell us all about his creator-owned comic book crowdfunding campaign for Satellite Girl #2, now funding on Kickstarter. Chris, how's it going?
Hey, guys.
Hello,
It's
welcome
going well.
back.
How are you?
Good, thanks.
Doing all right. So we had you on the first time for Satellite Girl #1, and I have since received and read that issue. So we're going to be talking a little bit about that. Hopefully not too spoilery, but hey, the book's out, so if you hadn't read it, it's your own darn fault.
You've had time.
Yeah, you have had time. And, hopefully talking about it a little bit will get some more people interested and hopefully jumping on the train for #2. You are fully funded right now on Kickstarter, so that's good news. But before we get further into the book, why don't we kick off our little interview? Yeah, I'm thinking about food,
You're
man.
hungry.
Why don't we kick off our little interview with some of the standard questions we always ask, like, what kind of comics did you read growing up?
Okay, yeah. Well, I started pretty mainstream, I think, like most people. This was, early 90s. I was part of the boom, the speculator boom, the post-baseball card comic book boom. And, the X-Men cartoon helped a lot with that. The X-Men arcade game, I think, was like the first time I ever saw X-Men in the wild. And then, so yeah, a lot of X-Men growing up, a lot of Superman, pretty mainstream stuff. Yeah, I was, kind of one of those kids who was obsessed with the art and kind of fell in love with that. And not that the 90s were known for their excellent prose or writing, but the art was fantastic. And I just liked the idea of this epic world that was being built, that there was this whole continuity and story that coming in at like issue 300 and having no idea how we got here and what was going on. And this is before the internet, so before you could go back and look up, well, what was Wolverine's origin? What was his first name? Where was he born? You had to kind of piece these things together and use your imagination to fill in these gaps. And I will say something that directly inspired me from that was, for my book, I'm trying to kind of capture that feeling a little bit of the way the issue works is we're working backwards. So we're starting with, there have been 12 satellite girls. We're starting with 12 and working back in time. And so kind of trying to capture that piecing together of a history of a world that's out there that you're getting glimpses of, and you kind of fill in the gaps yourself. But yeah, to answer your question, Batman, X-Men, Superman, and then eventually got older and branched out into like Hellboy and Sandman and things like that.
So, like, the more, I guess, the more mature comics, the more mature you got. That makes total sense. What about now? Are you reading any comic books that are on the stands? What about crowdfunded books?
Right,
Anything you want to recommend?
I'm following. Let's see. I try to dabble in the X books here and there, but I guess I got lost in Krakoa halfway through, and then moved on to.
Give up.
I'll wait until the summer to see what the relaunch is.
I recommend Peach Momoko's Ultimate.
Ultimate, yeah, that looks
Ultimate,
to me, just the art alone looks
good.
fantastic on that.
I mean, honestly, Peach Momoko.
I was gonna say, you have me at Peach Momoko.
Just
right?
buy it
Exactly.
for the art.
And it looks like she's doing a different take on it, so that seems really exciting.
She absolutely is.
It's her own thing. It's not, which is, I like kind of like the Elseworlds version of it, which seems really fun. I'd like to see more of that, some fresh takes on that kind of thing. But sorry, that quote.
Mo says, I can almost see the formal education in sequential art popping up this man's coif like mystical moose.
There you go.
That's quite good. Actually, you do have some formal education in theater arts from Boston University, right?
Yeah.
So let me. I guess we could segue into that, unless you want to talk more about talking about the comic books.
We didn't let him answer.
We still haven't said hi to the chat. We're rusty, guys. Come on.
We're bad. Sorry.
I don't mind at all. I've been getting trades here and there and like collected stuff, but I'm not so much a Wednesday Warrior guy. I picked up Blood Hunt and I went to Free Comic Day and that kind of thing, but I'm a little, I mean, Saga I read when it's out. Scumbag I really enjoyed. I've been reading that. But I more follow artists and writers than I do characters right now. So, but sorry, to talk about, let's segue. Let's go into
yeah, your
theater.
education. How
Yeah,
did
sure.
how did you wind up going to Boston University and then, turning to a life of drawing pictures and slinging burgers?
Sure. Yeah, so I went, so I drew all my life and had always been, an artist, fairly known for art growing up. And then, but also loved theater and loved writing and acting and performing. And, when I went to school, I think there was like Savannah was one of the few schools for sequential art. And if I was going to go for art, I thought maybe for comics. And I looked at it, but it just didn't really feel like the I was already happy self-teaching or doing that on my own and kind of figuring that out for myself, and wasn't sure if I really wanted to pursue it fully professionally. So theater and the arts kind of came my way, and I wrote a play in high school that got me some good an award and some attention. So that helped me. I knew I could kind of get in school for that. So I ended up going for dramatic writing and performance, and it was great. I mean, I feel like it was one of the best educations I could have got, and weirdly a great one for comics. I think that um, learning about storytelling in any
Direction.
form is gonna
Framing.
definitely translate. And yeah, exactly. And Boston University was great for teaching, well-rounding you in terms of all of the facets of theater and stage design, costume design, set writing, directing, dramaturgy, all kinds of stuff, and performance that will help you kind of approach a problem or approach a creative direction with fresh eyes and different takes, and knowing if you get stuck one way, there's probably another angle you can come at it to solve it. So that was really helpful, and I feel like a lot of something that I've directly benefited from was like the idea of the performances in my books. Growing up, it was always neutral faces of either like really stern or no mouth movement, so that you can there's no direct performance that was being portrayed to not impede on the viewer's interpretation, I think, in their mind. But I lean into it. I kind of want the facial expressions. I want to show that my characters are how they're feeling or thinking, and you can do it with a look, you can do it with the delivery of a line, but
Gestures. Yeah.
yeah, that is exactly right. So
body posture, and you actually
right.
there's a great page in the first story in Satellite Girl #1 where she's making this face where it's more like her head posture and her chin jutting out, which conveys the attitude in the line that she's delivering. We could probably
I'm just
bring that up.
I
think it might be on one of the other pages. I mean, you can just scroll through the whole thing. The art on this, guys, is really something special. The line work is very good. It's very fluid. It flows, and it's almost, in a sense, Giffen-esque, I would say.
Okay,
yeah,
sure.
There. That's a really good one. Right,
I'll take that
one
to the bank.
right there.
Rest in peace.
Yeah, who are your inspirations or influences? Who's influenced your art?
I would say that my bones, the skeletal structure is probably a lot of Art Adams, Joe Madureira, Jim Lee, and then but then things like Keith Giffen are great for like getting permission to know that I can go outside the box. Like Trencher,
the stylization of it
forever. Yeah, I loved Trencher growing up. I think I could follow most of it, but it was just oh, you can do this. It just kind of opened up the net that much further. But everybody to some degree, I feel like I take a hand here, a shoulder there, a bicep from him, from her, whoever. I think most recently my influences have been like Frank Quitely has probably been my strongest influence in terms of like storytelling.
That right there in my mind is the Giffen bounce.
Yeah,
like you were just talking about Trencher, but that's
right.
like the whole use of momentum and the bouncing right there. I'm like, oh my God, that's like reading an issue of Trencher. Perfectly. And then of course, like I guess you throw the gun in there and like look at this facial expression, right? Look at the way that she's holding herself in her posture. It says so much about, her as a character, her confidence, the red hair, like the whole character design that you were mentioning.
He's colorblind.
What is it?
Oh,
pink?
cool.
It's like a pinky red.
Yeah.
You were mentioning costuming design from your time, studying dramaturgy, and that's definitely a part of it too. Everyone having their own unique way of expressing themselves through the costuming that you're giving them. Like, I love
exactly
her boots.
right. Yeah.
I love her.
I thought you were going to say something else.
Modern tropes. Yeah, what's left of the costume at this point in the story.
Right, at this point, right. We haven't said hi to the chat. I'm being a crappy host, chatting with you and ignoring my guests. Well, my chatting with the guest and ignoring my people in the chat. So we got Will claiming first, as he does. We got Oliver from 656. What's up, Ollie? Glad to have you with us.
Email. I will write back.
We've got Mo Biggs, hail in the chat. Glad to have you with us, Mo. It is officially a stream. Man, it excites me to no end when Mo Biggs shows up for these streams. It's like, I feel like we're welcomed back onto the internet.
It's like, if a tree falls in the woods and Mo Biggs isn't there to watch it, did you even stream?
Does a stream happen? What's up, Total Excellence? What is up, Ictus? Hope you're doing well, bud. We have to catch up sometime, see how you're doing coloring out there. And last I heard, he was working on the Flock comic, which I think I received the most recent.
Yeah, we have a lot of unboxing.
Dude,
a lot.
Yeah,
we just kind of had our nose to the grindstone.
Nice.
That's not even all of it. We got a lot of packages. We also have Jeremy Burtz. Hello,
hey, Jay Burtz. What is up? Bow. We got Thumbledina. What is up, Dean?
I'm not gonna do my very terrible.
Good day, mate.
I think yours might be worse. And hello to everyone watching on Twitter and Facebook.
Mo says, I really like the line work. The colors bring to mind a late 80s Nickelodeon breast cancer awareness special.
Yeah. Well, every little bit helps, I think.
Right? I like how vivid they are, and I really like how the saturation is great. I really like how you play with the color layers too. Like, we were just looking at her hair. It fades into orange in my opinion.
It does. Yeah, no, you're right.
It's not like
I want it to look different than most everything else on the fans, and I just wanted to feel that it popped. Do it if it's gonna be a comic, make it do what comics does well, and let's get bright colors and I try to think about like harkening back to like cereal box design theory, where it's like it's bright primary colors, it's in your face, it's grabbing your attention, you can tell what things are. And it should look otherworldly. I mean, I'm trying to lean into this is not, no disrespect, but like a Brian Hitch cinematic universe. This is not meant to be trying to replicate realism. This is, as you can see, impossible shots and angles of
right. And that's what I'm going to point out here. I love your choice of perspective angles, not just because it's a crotch shot. I mean, I love crotch shots, but I love the fact that you're choosing to draw that. That's not easy. You decided, I want to have this really difficult perspective with her looking back over her shoulder, and we're, at a crazy angle here. The way you contort the body and her posture in so many of these shots, many of these panels, I should say, it speaks to a love of presentation. And you want to present the character in exciting ways to titillate the audience and get them enamored with the story by sheer spectacle. And that's the mark of an artist who really wants to convey meaning through the art. So that impresses me. This is my favorite part of the comic, though, is her little secondary helmet for her hair that I think is the best detail in her outfit, that she has a
reminds me of
a helmet
like
for her hairdo.
The board game Sorry, I think, is kind of the
absolutely
joystick. So yeah, that's kind of the inspiration for it. But thank you for saying so. That's really great. But and I really appreciate your nuanced examination of it. That's awesome. It's really great.
Well, I mean, you went to BU, I went to FU, so
okay.
Fordham.
Oh, right on. I almost went to Fordham.
Yeah, it's just we talk out of our ass a lot. Anyway, according to my spies, you've been working as a freelance artist for the past 10 years now? Almost 11 years.
Yeah, more seriously in the last like 5. I was more part-time restaurant stuff for a while, and then now, it's been really since like right before the pandemic, I committed fully to doing art and freelancing. And go ahead, just roll through this while we're doing it.
This is
this is my favorite.
And the joke here. That
yeah, sorry.
that joke is hilarious. I
Thank
didn't
you,
even
yeah.
get it at first. She had to explain it to me. I'm like, that's perfect.
Like I brought it
Uh,
up the last time he.
Yeah, well, I don't
It's
remember
Oh yeah,
shit.
that's right. Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, Buka is a huge influence of mine as well, and I did get some fine art, art history education in college, and I've dabbled in fine art for a while as well, and I've done commission work, watercolors and portrait and stuff like that. So Klimt and that whole Nouveau era as well was very important. It influenced a lot of my that body twisting you were talking about, and the love of anatomy and kind of dance and moving it around and um, it's just fun. It's the most fun thing for me that I love drawing. Um, but yeah, so what was the question? Sorry. Full-time artist. Yeah, so I've been doing freelance work. I've been doing some concept art for some film as well. Currently working on something that should be filming this summer, which is really exciting that I can't really disclose, but it
You've
involves
also
zombies.
got
So
a background in street graffiti, which will,
little
get
bit,
you some
yeah.
cred around these parts. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm not sure what like, LinkedIn or whatever you're reading, getting your sources, but I've done a little bit of some graffiti stuff, most of it sanctioned, some of it less so.
So do you know
I
Banksy?
I not I
Oh. No,
as if
he
there's
is
one of
Banksy.
them.
He just doesn't want to tell us.
Yeah, man, that'd be great. No, if I was Banksy, I'd tell everybody. No, yeah, I dabble a little bit. I also, carried a lot I did a lot of like chalk work as well, which I like doing, which is fun because if any police walks up on you while you're doing it, it washes right off. Little
Yeah.
James Heron kind of stuff, or just random asides. I would, always had a Sharpie and would write stuff on, and when I lived in New York, on the MTA posters of what train was delayed, and I'd draw little snippets, and occasionally somebody would put one online. I'd see it if I was somehow tagged in it or came across it, but it was something to do while I was bored or waiting for the train. It wasn't a major direction, but I did like
I mean, it
incorporating a
could
lot
have
of
been a
that.
career, right? Like
It
you
could
could
have,
have
yeah.
become the next Basquiat. Who knows?
I Shepherd Ferry stuff here and there. I did some stencil work. I incorporated that in some of my fine art, and when I did some gallery stuff. But for the most part, it's I don't want to make it seem like I'm anywhere near the real people who do it. It was
Yeah, but still, it's cool to say that you have experience doing it.
I do,
Or
yes.
at least
I
known in some circles, maybe not your modern audience, but in some circles you're known for it, right?
sure.
So anyway, how does a guy like you make the transition from restaurateur to starving artist?
Fair question. Basically get really fed up, get fired, or get a better job offer. And
I like all the food puns.
oh
Right?
yeah,
Restaurateur
fed
to
up.
starving
Not
artist. He goes, get fed up. Yeah,
Yeah.
I like the food puns, man. Good job.
I luckily kind of did all three, where I was at my wits end, and then got a better job offer that was going to pull me out of the industry, and then in the process of getting sorry, one second, neighbors. In the process of getting um transitioning out and giving my 2 weeks notice, then got fired for not giving a shit. So after that, when that job unfortunately didn't quite work out, I kind of figured out what I wanted to do next, and had always been kind of part-time on the side hustle with the art, and then kind of just buckled down, and was lucky enough to get some really great commissions that came in the right place at the right time. And through restaurants and all the contacts I had, I'd met a lot of people who were working on things that needed some art. So that a lot of it's luck, and then having a good support system with family, and to be able to navigate that financially and room and board style, and then also support for creative support as well. And then it just kind of little by little gradually builds and builds until you're doing it full time. And then
So, I
my
mean,
publisher
like,
Tanner, sorry,
yeah, I was gonna say, how did you link up with Steve Tanner Hurley and
he
8 Ball
found some of my X-Men
Studios?
stuff on Instagram, and reached out to me through Instagram. And it wasn't the first person that has ever approached me like that through a DM, but he luckily wasn't offering exposure as the payment. And he had a whole plan.
Only
Breaking
Mo
away
can get away with that.
from Mo's preferred payment option. Right?
Right.
Yeah, Mo Big's the only one who can get
Mo's
away with
payment
that.
plan.
Mo
Yeah, so he was
Exposure.
offering actual cold hard cash,
Yes, and a cut of
fiscal
the
capital.
Kickstart and all that kind of stuff. And he also had a contract. He actually had like an ownership and a rights contract and publishing contract, which nobody really ever does. So that
Right.
was made me feel like, oh, this guy's legit. And I was at a place where I really wanted to start getting more pages under my belt, more experience uh, doing actual sequential pages, knowing that I'm aiming for this bigger project. And so I'd rather kind of figure this out on a smaller scale. And so this gave me the shot. And then when that was supposed to be part of like a heavy metal anthology magazine, and then when that fell through, Tanner said, let's just do your book.
Just do it. Yeah,
What do you
just do
got?
it.
So it came, right place, right time. Um, he's an excellent support system editor, publisher, cheerleader. It's great. It's really awesome. And he mails all the
So
stuff.
so
which I
you're
don't have to
doing
do.
it. You're doing it full time. You're making this your primary source of income. But is there really any money in comics?
I mean, on my scale, I don't know. I mean, it's I
I mean, like you're
I would say
you're
the
you're
bills are paid
pushing
more from
40 something,
commissions.
right? And you've got
Sorry.
like
Yeah.
student loans, tens of thousands of dollars, credit card debt. I mean, like, how do you see this being a
Not tens of thousands of dollars of credit card debt, but student loans are usually tens
Yes,
of
Yeah.
thousands
tens of
of
thousands of
dollars.
dollars.
and
I
credit
mean,
card debt? I mean, who knows? Maybe he's got, like a life-threatening illness and he's got medical bills, or God forbid, his family members. Like
no, of
we all
course,
have
of course. I
financial
understand.
concerns. How do you allay those concerns working in art, or do you have a secondary or supplemental source of income? Did you buy
Not so,
Bitcoin when it was in the right
yeah,
spot?
yeah. No, Beanie Babies, they really had a great return. No, a lot of my main income is a lot commissions and things like that really pay pretty well. And I've amassed a pretty good strong following, or sometimes I'll sell my original art that I do for fun for myself. That's good income. But really, it's either probably like other illustration gigs, non-comic illustration gigs, non-comic commissions as well, and then like film and television concept art and that kind of stuff. Right now, that's been kind of how I've been filling stuff in. I've done posters for comedy clubs, a comedy club in Arizona or New Mexico rather. A friend of mine opened things like that, film posters, album art, all you nickel and dime, or you have to cast a pretty wide net. But the idea with the Kickstarter is this is the beginning. This is my second issue, second book. Really just trying to make sure I'm making the best thing I possibly can, as people see it as an investment, and then it grows with each issue. Primarily is the plan. So, it's getting exposure. It's leading something else. I write. I'm a writer as well, not just an illustrator. So I do some freelance writing on the side, which can pay, which can help. But yeah, it's a struggle. I don't have an answer. It's not, I
No,
don't have
I think you
X number
did. I
one
think you
royalties,
answered
but
well. The money isn't so much in comics as it is in being a freaking artist and doing
yes,
all
and the
of the art
comics
things, like
helps.
doing storyboarding and doing
Right.
commissions and posters and cover work and album covers and all sorts of stuff like that. And I think a lot of
That's
people
smart.
forget that when they get into the comic book game. So much of the focus goes into doing comics.
Yeah.
It's the fact that you have a whole wide world where you can market your ability and improve your skills and market those skills to all sorts of different people who have need of art. So
You're
long as
100%
AI
right.
doesn't just come and replace all of us.
I want to
Yes,
interrupt to
that's
say
it.
hi, Ape. He says, I sold my Bitcoin for Beanie Babies. They're coming back, I tell ya.
And we've
Smart
got
man,
Sunoka
smart move.
Sam with us, and we've also got Mr. Adam Lawson.
Hello,
Thank you so much for dropping by,
Adam.
Adam. Glad to have you with us. Mo says, first, Big Pharma and the feds crack down on my primary income. Now people are coming down on my currency. I know, man. I know. I was just kind of, snap talking exposure in the
Sam says,
chat.
cover
Yeah.
art repurposed as art prints.
Yeah, that can
Brilliant.
be good. Like
But
you
you're
can
100%
take.
right about a lot of the comics is, I'm thinking of these issues kind of like as mixtapes building to a larger album, but also these are great portfolio samples. Like as much as I wasn't trying to get out the gate, do a giant narrative. I wanted to do like samples or small chapters, give a wide variety of locations and eras and backgrounds. And this is a little bit of like, it's easier to hold up an issue and go, here, this is what I'm capable of. People can
Yep.
flip through it and be like, oh, okay, now I know you can at least finish something. So now I can give you this
it
job.
shows you hit deadlines too. It's
Exactly,
not just
yeah.
that like,
And
oh, I can
variety
draw,
and
but I understand composition and all of that.
right. And somebody vouched for you, so this was made. So that's great. So it's all kind of feeding each other, which is like, first issue of Satellite Girl led to another illustration gig, which is great. So, little things like that. They feed each other. Yeah, it
So
all
how do you
helps.
feel getting, and this is a question I don't really think I ask a lot of people, but just knowing you're around my age, how do
Hmm.
you feel getting into this field, this game, at the time in your life you're getting into it? Usually they say like the creative arts is a young person's game, right? You want to get in as young as possible so that you can
Sure.
build that following, build a fan base, get famous, and then milk that shit for 60 years. How do you
Right.
feel getting into it now?
I mean, fine, I guess. Good. I'm happy. I had opportunities when I was younger to, I guess, theoretically crack in or break in to some degree. But I
Yep,
don't think I was quite ready, or it would have been a lot more of
right.
learning on the job, and failing in the public eye a little bit more, which I wasn't really built for, or
Yeah.
I
Yep.
realized I didn't want to have to do that. And I had more aspirations of being um, more on camera and that kind of stuff as well, or being more performance based, which I still love. But um, Jack Kirby was 44 when he did Fantastic Four #1. So I'm not there yet, but
Aristotle wrote 100 books in the last 10 years of his life.
right. I
That's
think
what
age
Neff
is
always goes to.
still fairly
Yeah, I'm
relative.
aiming
You're
for
only
like
as
this
young as you
being my
feel.
last 10. Yeah.
No.
I luckily don't have kids or anything like that, so I don't have to worry
Right.
about that kind of responsibility. It'd be a lot harder to do this if I did. So I do sympathize for everybody out there who feels like it is too late. But I would say, you can't do you don't expect to write a whole book in one day. You just got to do little bits here and there. Do a page, do a
Yeah, my
panel,
editor
do a
was
shoulder.
telling me the
Doesn't matter.
same thing. He's like, just, one thing after another. Don't get overwhelmed knowing that like there's all this stuff looming on the horizon, or you have to get, these things that just put, a very focused lens on the one thing that you're doing, and it'll lead you to the next one and the next one like breadcrumbs. I've
Exactly
actually
right.
just been like crawling out from underneath a pile of stuff that just kind of like beat me down. So, poking my head out and looking out into the world and seeing what's going on. It's interesting that, you and I are talking on the show now, because I see someone that I recognize in you. I see
Hmm.
myself in a lot of ways in you, like the type of person who's getting into it now, as opposed to getting into it earlier, just kind of like, not choosing to take that path, choosing to step away from it or shy away from it or just outright reject it, and then realizing that you do want to go in that direction, but you want to do it on your own terms, and you have to
Totally.
find a way to be able to do that. And I think that you're absolutely going about doing it the right way, marketing your skills to so many different people in so many different ways, and then developing your own personal IP in Satellite Girl.
Hmm.
So we've been talking for a little while now. Why don't we pop over to the campaign, and you can start telling me a little bit more about the book? So what do you say?
Sure.
You ready
Love
to
to.
show us your cock there? Your creator-owned comic?
Ah,
Yeah.
where'd the thing go?
Okay, good. All right.
Your words, not mine.
Yeah, yeah. There's a like a logo. It's COC, your creator-owned
Ah,
comic. We'll
that's
get
right.
you a keychain. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, here we go. Satellite Girl #2. So,
So yeah,
give us the
just a
pitch.
funded. Sorry.
You have some good pull
Yeah, some great
quotes too
endorsements.
from
I got Dave Finch
Dave Finch and
endorsement. I
Nick
got Nick
Pitara.
Pitara. I'm actually I have a piece in the back matter of Axe Builder John #1.
Mm-hmm.
I got
Nice.
which is and Nick's a really great guy, and he gave me this great pull quote from issue 1. Um, and here the Flex cannon. Yeah, the Fat Fusion Flex pistol. That was one of your
Yeah.
favorites, Neff. I know that. Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
um,
Lurk my anus.
mhm.
Neon Drenched
Yep.
Madness is a really, really great description.
Yeah.
I
Definitely
know.
neon
Yeah, that
drenched.
was
Yeah.
great. I
Yeah.
was really flattered that he gave me that, you detailed a pull quote.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is issue 2 of my sort of anthology series. We're taking all these 12 sidekicks of this character, Captain Cosmos, who's like a Flash Gordon, and he's like the first superhero in this universe. And since he was in his inception in 1941, there have been 12 Satellite Girls. And so issue 1 starts with Satellite Girl 12 and then works backwards with Satellite Girl 10, 11, and 10. Issue 2 is
11 is my
9. That's 9 on
favorite
the
so
cover
far.
there. She is in the 1990s. Her story takes place. She's very tank girl, punk rock, Jamie Hewlett inspired. Um,
I have a feeling she will
and
also be a
and then
favorite.
there's also Satellite Girl 8 and 7. This is 9 right here. She is, chain smoking, pierced, tatted, something out of, an Extreme Studios kind of book from the 90s.
So are like what's the inspiration for these manic pixie dream girls of yours that turn into these like bodacious badass babes that somehow all become side pieces? I mean, sidekicks to Captain
There you go. Yeah,
Cosmos.
she bite your head off. Yeah. So it's each one sort of represents the era that, especially in comics and kind of pop culture and it girl status of each era. You think about like the 90s, like the edgy girl, they're all beautiful or attractive in some regard, but they have their own traits and tropes from those eras in comics.
Yeah,
So
like the leg warmers. The
yeah, like
jean,
so
the
eight is
tight
very,
leotard leg
the
warmer
Jane
thing from the
Fonda,
80s. Yep, Jane
Girl Next
Fonda
Door.
and the Walkman,
And the Madonna
right?
gloves.
And
Yep, thank you. Nice,
the
good catch.
PacSun shirt with the
Yep,
weird
yep.
like
The
And a Devo cassette tape floating around there too, I believe.
oh yeah, they just say Devo.
Whip it,
Yeah.
whip
So,
it, baby.
Nice.
yeah, they're pop iconography. It's a little bit of like kind of drag as well. How drag kind of takes a lot of it condenses all of the accoutrement from those eras and puts it into kind of one outfit, one uniform, one iconic look. So they needed an iconic look for each era, and also it's just fun to draw leg warmers and this kind of outfits, and it's fun to draw. And also this one does go through quite a transformation in issue 2. She kind of has an Ultraman Sailor Moon power up while she's fighting a giant kaiju monster in downtown Manhattan in 1981.
That's
and
kind of
then
amazing.
this is number 3. This is the like Michelle Pfeiffer, Scarface, drugged out, quote unquote, kept
Platform
woman.
shoes, yeah.
Yeah, platforms, tracksuit. She's hanging out at the
Badminton.
mansion, and is kind of a little bit lost because Captain Cosmos is preoccupied with trying to find out what happened to Salad Girl 6, which is mentioned in issue 1. And also there have been more superheroes throughout the years that have been joining the fray. So her job is a little bit, what do I do now when there's people who have taken over and can do my job for me? So there's a lot of jaded starlet kind of vibes and hanging out by the poolside, waxing poetical. And that one's going to be a very different art. It's a very different art look. A lot more watercolor, a lot more tableau, kind of fever dream, poetic, Sandman-y kind of stuff.
She described it as like a a vibrant fever dream, which I think it's an exciting thing to do, is to vary the art styles and change up the way you're presenting the characters. So one, it doesn't get stale, and two, it really differentiates or separates the characters from each other, and they all have a personality
like with issue
depending
1,
upon the art style.
Totally. With issue 1, I wanted like chapters 1 it takes place in space, it's very pink and bright, and then chapter 2 is like a snowy scene in Prague, and then chapter 3 is an alien desert Mobius planet. So I wanted each one to have, I want you to know you're in a new chapter.
I have that queued up, but I didn't put it back up. But I'll
sure, no, we can stick with this. That's fine. This is the first
we're
3
just looking
pages.
at the campaign page right now.
Yeah, this is the first 3 pages of chapter 2. This is the 80s. She's in her classic like Leonardo or Ben Grimm undercover fedora and trench coat, so nobody can recognize her as she goes to.
I like the studio's square root of 2009 and 16. Very nice. I like your little touches, man. They're clever.
A little bit of math, yeah, just a little bit of education. Comics, I can get like an educational sticker on it, or like a Nebula award or something. But kids who read that are going to grow up and know exactly what the square root of 2916 is. Well, if they know what 254 is. But yeah, this is her trying to get in undercover, and then and speaking to an old friend, and a lot of cameos, a lot of random tropes and bits from that era. All these normal people that aren't allowed in. This is Maurice is his character's name, and that smear I'm really proud of the kiss on either side of the cheek.
The kiss. I was gonna say that's very cool.
Yeah, the way that the face blurs like that. What did you use as reference to get that right, or did you just draw him in 2 different positions and then just mush his face in the middle?
I had done something similar. I mean, a little bit. I get looked at old like Simpsons panels where they would do those smears, or like Looney Tunes where they would actually have to draw all like the 4 eyeballs or the lips, and it basically just I knew I'd have to do 4 eyeballs, 2 noses, and kind of just dashed across it and thickened, layered a little bit in the middle where I knew there'd be deeper shadows. The biggest thing was to figure out, do I make the opening in his mouth white or not? But I think the white works better than like making it black. But yeah, I just wanted to show motion and movement, and again, just kind of show off a little bit here and there. Try and do things that are different that make the world feel tangible. And so this is her big reveal after she it goes to coat check. Before heading into the next room, which is massive, which I've got on my desk, but I don't know if I'm going to show it right now. But it's a giant kind of like Mad Magazine tableau of every celebrity in the world in the double page spread of everybody in the club.
That's awesome.
There's some superhero people, some famous influences in there as well from people who were alive in 1981, as well as a lot of other famous celebrities to boot. I can show this. Maybe I can show this one.
Wait,
I got him. I got him. I'll touch it.
There you go.
Hey,
got
nice.
Richard
Pryor,
Pryor. He's not on
Carson.
fire.
Some Beatles, some other famous people. George Burns, a little bit right there.
Oh yeah.
Michael Jackson, Diana Ross, Brooke Shields, Stanley. Stanley and Brooke Shields.
Nice.
That famous relationship. And there's a bunch of other famous people in the background as well that I don't want to give away
That's very cool.
quite just yet. But yeah, this is another shot. This is from later in the sequence. This is her version of her kind of Ultraman outfit she transforms into. And each character has the same crystal passed down from person to person, and each one uses the crystal for slightly different powers based on their era and what was popular back then in comics. Yeah.
I like that her leg warmers are like rocket boots.
Yeah, big chunky
like
rocket boots.
in
Yeah.
general.
Yeah.
Like, why wouldn't they, right? If you're gonna have leg warmers or Uggs or something, just give them superpowers.
Yes.
In the first book, she definitely has like the Samus Aran Zero Suit Samus boots, and I love those. They're some of my favorite designs.
Yeah, right. Me
women's
too.
feet.
I do that even with like my X-Men stuff. I try to incorporate a lot of those like tactical fashion. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Pouches everywhere.
Yeah.
So I know each of the satellite girls. The thing that I really liked about the first book is that each story features just one of the satellite girls, and that story speaks very much into who that satellite girl is, how they go about solving problems, the type of problems that they find themselves in. You learn a lot about them in a very short amount of time. You come away from it feeling like you've made a very distinct character. With a distinct look and tone to the character too. But is there like an overarching connection between the obstacles that they're facing? Is there a central antagonist? I know you're building out a world here. What can you tell us about that world without giving too much away? Because I feel like there's a meta plot connecting all of this, and I want to know more.
There is a meta theme, I would say, in terms of meta plot. Yes, it is building towards something down the road that I don't really go into, involving these characters and a lot of the characters that I'm introducing kind of peripherally as well. But there is a connection between all of these stories. A lot of it's just kind of this sisterhood that almost has formed over time, and the certain connection of being the few people that ever kind of have this exact job in this world. And a lot of it's satire of kind of superheroes in general and sidekicks in general. Specifically female sidekicks and women in comics or in media, the way they're portrayed, and teasing a lot of that while building backwards. So I think you will, when you get to the end of it, you're going to feel like you've received a full story and you can draw a lot of your own conclusions for it. There will be direct things resolved and questions answered, but it's more about kind of introducing you to this world in a fun way that gives you each chapter being its own entertaining story on its own right, while then feeling like you're part of this larger sisterhood to a degree. And then that sets up the next big graphic novel down the road that would be specifically about solving an overall villain or a foe. But some people pop up here and there, and you'll see some repeat customers, I'll put it that way.
So compared to the first campaign, which we had you on to talk about not too long ago. November. Yeah, it's not
November.
that long ago. How has this one gone? What have you done differently? What have you done the same? What's working?
Yeah. It was I knew going into this one, the first one was a lot of friends and family and people, well-wishers, people I've amassed, in my life for a long period of time who, Chris is this is his first comic. This is my first actual official, tangible, hold in your hands comic. And so there's a lot of people coming out to support, to give generously for that. And so I knew that was probably going to drop off with issue 2. being like, oh, I already funded that one, so you need it again? Okay. So I had to switch the friends and family proportion and fill that with new actual, comic book people, which
Readers.
I didn't hustle as hard last time. I was kind of more. We did a couple. You did your show, which is great, and that definitely gave a boost. A handful of other little streaming things here and there. I got like a Dave Finch endorsement and that, but I didn't hustle. I didn't saturate the market too much. I kind of wanted to, out of insecurity or fear, didn't want to overreach or bother people. And then this time around, I did some more reading on marketing and some other podcasts and stuff. And you got to get in there, and you got to kind of, you're fighting for everybody's attention. So posting a lot more often and more frequently has helped a lot. I post on Reddit quite often, which has been kind of a good helpful thing where I'll put those 3 pages up there and
I hate
remind
Reddit.
people of it, and do it once or twice a week, and you'll get a whole new 500 people will see it for the first time. And the ones who see it again aren't going to be mad. They'll just scroll by.
Right.
So for
Right.
each time I post, I tend to get 1 or 2 people backing it. So it's just trying to get into the hands or get to the attention of the comic fan that I'm trying to reach out, which is people our age as well, who like maybe been away from comics for a while and want to get back into it. This is its own little self-contained universe. It's supposed to be a little confusing right now. It will make more sense as you go forward, but you don't have to know an entire
Don't go into it with any
history.
attachments. Just go into
Exactly.
it completely open-minded, ready to like have some fun with it.
Yeah, and at
It's
least the art's
not-
awesome.
Yeah, absolutely awesome, and it's irreverent art that
Mhm.
is exciting, and it doesn't like it doesn't take itself too seriously. It allows itself to be playful, even though there's a lot of fundamentals behind it. Like you can tell you've studied 3-point perspective, and you
Yeah.
really measure your angles, and you check your vanishing points, and your foreshortening is accurate, for the most part, and you
Mhm.
planned out your page layouts well. So like you cover the fundamentals. I'm not trying to say that it's irreverent, like it doesn't give a shit, but it lets itself be free and loose, and
Yeah.
that's a quality that's sorely lacking, I find, in a lot of the comic books that I've been seeing. A lot of things are very structured, a lot of square panel designs that are repetitive, 5 and 6 panel pages over and over again. Hell, when we were talking about X-Men earlier, the Krakoa arc, right?
Yeah.
I have a comic book from the Krakoa arc that Garrett, my artist, and I used to dissect and talk about. It is 4 pages in a row of 9 grid, just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 of talking heads, and it's just 4 pages of that, and I'm like, this is awful. This is
Yeah, I blame
boring.
Bendis
There's
for a lot of that.
nothing to look at here, and you
Right.
are delightfully giving us something to look at on every page. Almost every single panel of every page, there's something to look at, and I think that's why I was able to your book was able to capture me, man. I am a
That's great.
notorious goldfish with the attention span of a butterfly. If I get bored for 2 pages, I'm not reading your book. It's just not happening. It's not like I don't want to read your book, or I'm not going to make the effort to. No, I'm going to sit down, and in 2 pages, I'm going to be looking at something else if it doesn't hold me. And I read yours all the way straight through. So
That's
I
awesome.
have to say that, it's the type of book that I want to pick up again, because I know it's not going to disappoint me.
Shadowpunk, hello Shadowpunk, says that's some serious artwork.
Thank you,
And he's-
Shadowpunk.
he's-
And yeah, I saw your
Yeah,
last
dude,
one.
he had a Nick
Finch.
Pitar endorsement too. You should
Yeah.
check out the page.
Yeah.
He called it neon saturated madness or something like that.
Something
Yeah.
like that. Yeah.
Fever dream. Yeah.
Fever,
Yeah,
people
all
used
of
it.
that work.
Yeah.
But yeah, I
Yeah.
try to make each page have something to look at, something exciting. I think that
Right.
9-panel, Watchmen's a 9-panel grid, but that's each panel is
Yeah,
it's
but
not
there's a
talking head.
monotony to it that's purposeful, and that's the thing
Right, and you
about
also-
Moore is he's absolutely trying to do that to you, so that when he hits you with those
100%.
other bigger pages, they make that much more of a statement, and he breaks the monotony to show you
Exactly
something
right. Yeah.
shocking.
I will say I do have an exciting. I have a double page spread in issue 2 that is a 50 panel spread. So it's
Nice.
it's kind of a Frank Miller. It's in the 90s, and it's like a sequence of TV monitors.
that's awesome.
I don't have it. A collection of TV monitors, basically showing a kind of a Sin City Frank Miller action fight sequence between Satellite Girl 9
On all the
and a
different
bunch of
monitors,
other
going
henchmen
from one to
from all the
another.
different cameras, the
Dude,
security
that's
cameras
so
around the
that's so
room.
cool.
This is the
And-
type
I'm
of stuff
excited
that you
about
can do
that.
in comics that you can't
Yeah.
do in other
Exactly.
mediums.
And I want
And the fact that
wordless.
you're able to seize on that and really understand that that's what you want to do, using the
Yeah.
medium that way to convey that visual means that you're a comic book creator, you know,
Do
like,
what
and
do
that's
what this medium can only do and only do best. You know, if it
a
should be a
lot of
movie,
people
make it a
call
movie.
themselves, yeah, a
Right.
lot of people call
Yep.
themselves comic book creators, but they don't think that way.
Right.
So, you know, talking to someone like you who actually gets that and purposely tries to use the medium to its greatest effect, to its total capacity, that it's refreshing to know that people like you are doing the work, right? Putting in the work.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
So do you want to tell us about some of your tiers? Like, if we are going to pick up this book, what should we be paying attention to?
We're
I know
gonna
last time
adjust our
we
to
picked
get this one.
we picked what, I don't
adjusting
know
it.
what you're talking about. We got the covers, all the covers last time.
Yeah, all 4 variants. That's great. So all 4 variants are available. We also have issue 1 available as an add-on, or
the
as
violin.
you
Is
can
that
do
the old, oh,
Sorry, I'm
Yeah, it's
just
from
telling him that
issue
we're going
1. Yeah,
to be
somebody bought
adjusting
that
our.
last campaign and then disappeared, so we
I was
got it
gonna
back.
say.
So,
Yeah, we're going
but,
to adjust our pledge, and
okay, great.
that's
Yeah,
gonna
so you
go
can,
away.
well, we're gonna have to make
do
a
it.
second account then and pick up the actual book.
Well, I'm pretty sure it's an add-on.
It
Oh,
can
it's
do
an
an
add-on.
add-on. Yeah,
Okay.
you can add on the book.
Yeah.
We have issue 1 available to get a second printing to get caught up. We have a get caught up deal. You can also add it on if you want to get all 4 variants. You can add on the first issue as well. We're gonna do that for every campaign going forward. We'll have reprints of the previous issues available with a slightly different color cover. But yeah, so for reward tiers, we just got funded, and so the first tier is a digital sketchbook, which I'm putting together. So that will be
Oh, the
only
stretch
now
goal.
attached to the digital copy only. It won't be printed, kind of to make the digital version of something unique, something special, and also gives me more unlimited page to kind of yeah, there we go. There's a glimpse of showing my process from concept to some script
That's very
pages
cool.
to some commentary and like small annotations of like why I went with this cover or this drawing for this page instead of this one, or my process of figuring out what works and kind of getting the right feel or the moment or the gesture that we talked about before. So that's some insight and some behind the scenes, which I always liked in trades and things like that. So I want to offer some of that. Then for the next tier up, we got some stickers, which I'm really stoked about as well. Some nice die cut stickers of each of the individual stars of this issue. We did postcards last time, and I felt that the people don't quite know what to do with postcards. They're like bookmarks
aren't you
or
supposed to
giveaway,
mail
but
them? Supposed to
yeah,
mail
they're fun
them,
to
right?
have.
I
You
like
put them on your
to
fridge, it's
print.
great. But everybody loves stickers, so I was really like, this
true.
is
Actually,
people-
more people like bookmarks. Apparently, stickers
Yeah,
aren't
that's what I've
as
learned,
popular
too.
as bookmarks.
we've got a
I
bookmark
don't
as
know.
well.
I don't know if I agree.
We'll do issue 1 as well. Those 3 as well get in there. Eventually down the road we'll have collect all 12. But yeah, so that's an exciting one. And then this is this band flyer, kind of like a this is a flyer I gave out to stores. So I reached out to a lot of independent stores as well, or comic stores, and sent flyers out for them to put in their bags on Free Comic Book Day, just to kind of get the QR
Smart.
code out there
Yeah.
and get people involved. And every store that did gets entered into a contest
Take
to
notes.
get a free a set of all 3 or 4 covers signed by me or
Oh, nice.
remarked. This is one I'm excited for. I don't know if we're gonna get there. I hope we do, but this is a 5th variant cover, the homage variant. The first issue we did the Britney Spears Rolling Stones cover. This is the Back to the Future 3
Back to the
homage cover
Future.
of all
Yeah,
3
nice.
women standing there, and I'm gonna do a full like Drew Struzan-esque painted kind of cover, which I've done.
Oh,
some-
nice! The same way that you did they
nice.
did the poster. Yeah, the
Yeah,
very
I've dabbled in that a
detailed
little bit
painting and
for
illustration.
a poster design, which is it's
Very
a
lifelike.
lot of fun. It's time consuming, but it's good, and the end result should be really fun for that. That'll be a cool collector's item as well. I'm really proud of turning that arrow into an E on the word satellite.
Yeah.
Played with that.
So
that worked out really
I
well.
do have to take you to task over something.
Okay, that this is
Okay,
the
I'm
3.
going to
the
rake
3
you over the
posters.
coals. All right, we're gonna go into the dojo very quickly. I noticed that on the first campaign, first time around, your basic cover price was $5.
Yes, sir.
Now, this campaign, you have raised your cover price to $6.
That is
And
right.
I'm just wondering, why are you jacking your prices
So high.
20% on your
20% up, yeah.
customers? 20% is insane, man. Like, you really expect me? Inflation's through the roof, and you expect me to shell out another 20% for a comic?
Yeah, thanks, Obama. Yeah, it's and yeah, honestly, it was our publisher. The cost was more than we thought. Like from the time Tanner, our publisher, reached out to them for his previous book to when we went to print, it had gone up. So we lost a little bit of our funding there. So we want to make sure that we just cover our bases. But again, you're getting to 32 pages is some of the best stuff you're going to get for that amount.
Oh, yeah.
And yes, I know. I fought to keep it as low as we could. And then the variants are a little bit more as well. But I think
No,
you're
yeah,
getting.
I'm being
Oh, I know you're
sarcastic.
facetious. I think it's great.
Yeah, that's charismatic and sarcastic put together.
Oh.
Sarcasmic. I made a word.
Sarcasmic. There you
Look at
go.
me. I'm a
You're
wordsmith
Shakespeare
like Shakespeare.
and Dr. Seuss
Yeah.
combined.
What the flirt? Yeah, but I can't make up new words the way he can.
Yeah, that's
You know,
fair.
your lexicon for profanity in your comic books is so much fun.
Well,
But all
my
joking aside,
favorite thing is-
$6 for 32 pages is a
It's right on the
fantastic
money,
deal.
man. That's
Yeah.
think
exactly
it's
where
good,
you
yeah.
want it to be. We're all trying to get the price points down as low as possible just to embarrass the big guy. I mean, to make it more affordable for our customers so that we can have a sustainable product and a happy consumer base.
I
Really
agree,
just to
yes.
shit all over the big guys.
Right.
But yeah, no, $6, 32 pages. I approve.
No
You get my
ads.
seal of approval.
Thank
What's the shipping though? It's
Oh,
gonna
the
be
shipping I think
$10.
is 7. I think it's 7 for domestic.
I have to check in
Yo,
another
okay,
window.
now I have to push you because last time you were on, I said $10 is could be better. You could get it down a little bit, and you
Yeah.
did. So
Yeah.
yeah, for real.
Tanner can
you-
answer
you-
that
you
better.
get
He's got
gold
the-
stars. Gold
Thank you. Yeah,
stars.
he's
from
got
me.
the math bit worked out for that. We went up a little bit for international because honestly, Dave Finch really hit us. He got like 20 books, and so that was like a heavy box we just sent to Canada. But I mean, go ahead, Dave. Buy more. Buy again. But yeah, just to be kind of, he I guess adjusted to figure out what was practical and what he could do. But yeah,
Mo, as you can see, Mo's comment stickers.
we got
I see he's
bookmarks too.
chosen
We
his
have
side.
bookmarks as well.
He does have a bookmark, right? Yeah.
We
the-
do have a
Yes,
bookmark.
you
And the
do.
first
Magna
bookmark, you
sticker
guys got
mark.
that, right? That was great. The,
Yes. Oh, that was my favorite.
Yeah. I might
She's
change
so
this. I don't know. We'll see. I like this one. I think it's fun, but there wasn't such a great like poster design. Like that one lent itself so well to a bookmark. I don't quite have anything exactly like that in this issue that fits that template.
Oh, but this is fun. I like it.
Yeah,
It
it's kind of like
fits,
a
with the.
punk band poster. They would find like a zine
Exactly.
kind of vibe. Yeah.
Yep, that's exactly what I thought.
So how are you doing on numbers compared to the first campaign? I know you hit the marketing angle a lot harder. You got your pull quotes. You started
I
sending
did.
out flyers. Got the QR codes out there. You drummed up interest. How has that paid off?
It seems to be, it's like a 50 to 1 kind of thing. Like if I reach 50, do 50 things, one thing moves. So it's I just keep blasting as much as possible. But we're not quite as high as we were last time. We were a little like a couple hundred more than this point last time. But again, that was a lot of people buying.
Yeah, that was
more people
that was
bought
your
the
whole
original.
family and everybody who don't actually give a shit about comic books, but are
Right.
fans of
And-
you. And
Yeah.
they're like, yeah, well, we supported you last time. We're not going to do that again because
Yeah,
I
and
don't
which
know
I
what I'm going to do
expected.
with this
People aren't
thing.
going
It's
to sell it the
colorful
same amount
and
of money.
well drawn, and I don't know what to do with that. That's just a
Right.
mystery.
I can't really give it to my
You read
kid.
it.
It's not super
Right.
kid friendly.
That's
But
fair.
yeah, just trying to do things like this that kind of get the word out, and just I've been showing it a little bit more of some of the art, and actually I've been showing some stuff from issue 1 as well, to kind of hook people on it, mixing it in just to give people a little more of a taste. But yeah, it seems like 1 out of 100 people that see it and tend to hop over to the Kickstarter and get one and order one, which is great. So it just it requires a little bit more of me having to, and Tanner having to hustle. But oh, here we go. So yeah,
Too many tabs.
and I
This
learned a
is
lot
the-
from
the
doing
third one.
this first book. Things I won't do the same, but it's on the job training to a degree. But yeah, this is kind of speaking of Giffen, this is very Lobo-esque. Space bounty hunter. She's the 1999 the Y2K satellite girl. Very Beyonce Pepsi commercial was the inspiration for this one. Her
Right,
Pepsi
where
her
it's
Super Bowl.
a
Yeah.
soda commercial, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
At the Super Bowl, it's a naked orgy in the soda, which is like,
Yep.
Well, you gave
Ugh.
away the ending. I
Oh,
didn't give
you
oh
away the
no,
ending of the other
oh
one.
geez, yes, and she blows them all up with Mentos. Yeah, I really
Yeah.
gave away the ending because it's Mentos and soda, and it's like, come on,
I love it.
Yeah.
you have to. Of course, it makes sense.
Mhm.
It's that clever tongue-in-cheek humor that is self-aware, but doesn't at all take itself seriously and allows itself to have fun with the material.
Hmm.
And you get a glowing endorsement from me. You're doing everything right. You're doing everything
appreciate
right.
that.
You're putting out a fun book. You have the right mindset for this game. You're not dependent upon only your fans to create your book or your artwork. You've diversified your revenue streams across all sorts of different fields of the art game, right? You're doing
Hmm.
posters, commissions, concept art, storyboards, all that stuff. You're really utilizing those skills. But you're also hitting the marketing angle really hard, and you're making an affordable product shipped at a very reasonable price. And it's clear that you guys have made an effort to make an attractive product that's available to people. And that gets my strong glowing endorsement. I will put my shoulder behind that and push it.
Thank you so much. You've been very supportive and very encouraging. I appreciate that. And yeah, you're exactly right. I'm trying to get this, let the work kind of speak for itself. Let the book do the talking. I don't want to get to, I don't want to have to try and sell it by using other alternative perspectives or get
Look at the
political
line.
or
Just
go
look at
whatever.
the line. Come on,
Yeah.
guys. Just look at
Yeah.
the line work in here, right? Look at the line work and look at the color. It's so
It's so good.
fun.
There's so
Right,
much.
this is a
to look
2-page
at,
spread,
like,
by the way.
so
This is
much.
only the right side of that page. This is the left side of that page.
Yeah. Oh,
Look at this.
The next digital copy will be 2 pages spreads. The PDF will be, so you can get a better reading experience.
Look at her
You-
shoes.
I know. I'm like, I want to make so many of these.
Right, could you imagine
costumes.
cosplaying these? It'd be
That's my
crazy.
hope.
but
My hope. That's the dream. One day to be.
I
walk
love the
around and
shades, the
at a
Jubilee
con and-
shades,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
Yeah.
A bunch of people show up
Oh,
in this
it's so good.
cosplay. It'd be great.
It would be. All right, so
All right, friend.
what are some of the hurdles you've had to overcome making comics?
Wow. Doing it all myself is a lot of time management and figuring that out. But and when I don't have, trying to find the balance between commissions that pay bills and what have you versus time for this, and I've got a pretty good routine. But and I learned a lot from issue 1. I will say that. Aw, thanks, Mo. Uh,
There's a
certain
joke
things-
about me and baby goats and
Oh,
Phil
cute.
Russert on this channel.
And just
Okay.
baby goat.
Okay,
And
I don't
baby
know if I
goats.
wanna
I love
General.
baby goats. They're adorable.
Yeah, I learned a lot from issue 1. Really, that was a big learning curve. Specifically, I mean, the digital copy looks great, but there's a lot of that, and I prefer the reading experience of holding it in my hand. I think that's
Yep.
just a better experience. You get the page turn; it just feels that much better.
Yep.
And there's certain things that I did.
He says it was still a compliment.
Issue 1. Oh yeah, well, thank you. Yeah. Issue 1, certain gradients, certain details, certain nuance that I went into that I realized it just kind of gets lost on the printed page. So that's
Yep.
certain
amount of
certain
detail
things were
becomes
just
money because you're
Right,
Yeah,
for
good to
printing.
time,
know.
First
so
time
you-
printing something is really a trip, right?
Yeah.
It is,
Having to
yeah.
do all the pre-press and everything, getting the proof back, realizing that you have to adjust your black, your K values if you're not coloring in CMYK and you're converting from RGB, and then you have to, it's nuts. It's
Yeah,
there's a lot.
and we skipped
Yeah.
the reading. They said they could give us a digital preview, but I'm like, that doesn't really do anything.
Doesn't
So,
help, right?
Yeah.
Right,
You
it
need the
doesn't help. So
physical
I'm like,
proof.
just
right.
send me
Yeah.
my PDF back to me. That's great.
Yeah, right.
But,
Exactly.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
sent
It's
you.
like, cool, thanks.
But
Great.
You
but
just
I'm
have
really
little
lucky-
like dots in the corner and little,
Right.
half
Super
squares.
lucky with our
Cool.
printer though. They're great. And Heroes and Villains, I think they're called. They're out of
Yep.
Arizona, I want to say.
Yep,
And
we're aware of
they
them.
nailed it. They did a really great job. There's just certain things like, okay, this green to blue gradient is a waste of time. I just do light to dark. Like a lot of that kind of stuff works
Right.
better. So that's big. I also went into this issue with a much tighter script. Going into it, just for laying out panels better and because trying to squeeze words into certain panels was a lot tougher than others.
That would be my
Um,
one criticism of your
Yeah.
book.
It's
If I
lettering.
only had if I could give a criticism, I
No,
do
of course.
have one, and it would be the lettering.
Yeah, it gets better.
A little bit
I
of
think, throughout the book.
punctuation, a little bit of word spacing.
Sure.
space between letters, space between words. But really, overall, it wasn't awful. I've seen way, way
Yeah,
worse,
it was
and I
still
do
readable. Like
appreciate.
Yeah.
I
it
do
wasn't like
appreciate
that.
some of what you did with the lettering to make the letters themselves more exciting to look at, making the
Hmm.
balloons themselves slightly different colors or shades to differentiate voices. You
Yep.
know, there was an attention given to the lettering. I just think that you can improve on that.
Yes, I agree, and I think I kind of got the hang of it towards the end of the issue of issue one better
Yeah.
than the beginning for
Yeah.
sure. But yes, having all that set up, um, going into it more, just so I'm not spending time drawing a corner of a panel that I know is going to get covered up anyway. So that was
Right.
uh, picking and choosing those moments and not stressing too much about like all the super fine details of something you won't be seeing anyway. So that's
Yeah,
big. But
learning the
then,
process of what disappears on the page so you don't have to waste your time. Just being more experienced with that.
yeah, exactly. A
Yeah.
little more planning ahead of time. But other than that, I got a lot of great feedback. Feedback like that is very helpful. And if anything, it's been hard not getting that feedback. People either feeling like they don't want to, either they think they're wrong by not understanding something, or they don't want to hurt my feelings, or don't want to tell me what they thought. So people pulling their punches to a degree. But so I've had to kind of draw some of that out of people to get like honest feedback. But most of it is just confirming what I already knew. Things
Yeah,
I
there's
realized
no
I
real
can
reason
tweak
to
that.
pull punches. It's a successful first comic book.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
like
think so.
Mavericks, my book was a successful first comic book, and God, it's riddled with errors. You
Sure.
know, like
Yeah, that's
it
part of
is
the.
riddled with errors, and still people are like, I enjoyed this, and this was fun, and I'd buy the next one. So hey, you did
Yeah,
your job, which was to make a book people liked and get them to come back for the next one. And there's
100%.
no reason to pull punches because every criticism that's taken seriously and actually addressed as something, can I get better at this, is just going to improve the work, right? You've
Right.
got
I mean,
no
I'm not
reason
stopping.
to.
You're not deterring me. So yeah, this is
Yeah,
only gonna help me get
right,
better.
right. And I don't ever really feel like if someone's criticizing someone or being critical of something, I have a pretty good sense of what's a sensible criticism and what's just nonsense. What's
Hmm.
somebody like nitpicking for absolutely no reason other than to
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
something to say. Which
Totally.
there's plenty of that, and that's fine. Um, but I always take it to heart of like, could I have done something about that, and can I do something about that in the future? And if
Right.
the answer is no, I couldn't have done something about that, and it's not really important to me in the future, then you just disregard it. But it
Yeah.
doesn't mean that, like, I don't know why people
Or
do that
try and
with
figure out
criticism.
what whether if they're rewriting something for you, instead be like, okay, what are they not getting that they're trying to solve the problem of? And then like if I realize
Right.
what's missing for them,
What
then
can
I
I
can solve
change to
that
fix
problem.
that?
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
All
But yeah,
right. So last bit, what advice
sure.
would you give to creators looking to start crowdfunding their comic books?
Ooh. Well, unfortunately, I've been seeing some more like, sex sells, apparently. I've noticed. There's a lot of
Yeah.
campaigns that are
We
Not for
saw
very.
long.
that.
No, oh yeah, I just heard they're cracking down on that, or defunding
Yeah, there were
campaigns
like
that are too
3 or 4
pornographic or something.
campaigns
Well,
that got
it's
Yeah.
pulled.
not even Kickstarter at this point. It's Stripe, the payment
Oh yeah.
processor. And you
Oh,
really don't want to piss off Stripe guys because they're the people that process your credit card. So if you
got
get
it.
banned by Stripe, they're going to ban your account, which is going to hit your
Oh
business,
shit.
which is going to hit
Yeah, yeah.
your credit. And that means that they're not going to be processing you anywhere, not just on Kickstarter or on PayPal or somewhere like that. So
Okay,
keep
gotcha.
making porn. Go ahead.
Yeah. Jeez.
Eventually,
Okay,
it'll
good to know.
saturate the market, and the
Glad I
payment
didn't do that.
processors
Yeah.
will go, "What the fuck? We can't handle this anymore." It's not like it just makes the world go around. I mean, prostitution may be the oldest profession. Most
Uh-huh.
porn is free. You keep trying
But
to make
pimps is the
money,
second.
make payment processors, make people pay for that. I mean, honestly, like, you'd be better off selling your comic books on OnlyFans.
Yeah, right. Seriously. Jeez, maybe. There you go. I guess that's my advice. No, honestly, just look so bad. Um,
To
what
be
I've been
clear, there's a difference between the stuff that I'm seeing in the stuff that you're talking about and your
right.
book. Your book
Oh,
is
totally. Yeah.
fun and it's still tasteful. Yeah, it's exaggerated anatomy, right? There's
Sure.
butts and there's boobs, but that's not the point of the story. The
Correct.
point of the story is not to watch lesbians having sex in a comic book. The point
Right.
of the story is they're these satellite girls, and
Yeah.
this is this satellite girl, this is that satellite girl. There's
And they
stories to
reflect the
connect to
eras of
Captain
which.
Cosmos.
Yeah.
There's
They
actual
reflect the
story
comics.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
reflecting the comics also of their time as well. So,
Right.
yeah. It's. But sure, people can argue: is it social commentary or is it just you wanted to draw this and you're calling it satire? But it can be both. But
Yeah, it can
yeah,
be
in
both.
terms of advice,
Absolutely.
Both?
I
Both
I
just
mean,
is good.
I would love to draw
exposure.
a Farrah Fawcett if I could.
Exposure's big. Try and find things I love to draw. Like, I would try and draw things I thought people wanted to see, and that didn't usually work as well as when I'm like, okay, I just want to draw some fun X-Men stuff today. And I'll draw some fun X-Men stuff and put my take on it and put that out there, and that gets more response and that gets more people following you. And then not being afraid to kind of make sure you're confident in what you're doing. It took some time for me to really feel like I felt ready to do it. And then a little bit after that is when this opportunity came along. So once you feel you're ready, don't be afraid to sell it. Tell people about it. If you believe in your product, it's a lot easier to shove it down people's throats and not feel guilty about it.
And don't be afraid to shove it down their throat.
Yeah.
That's where we're gonna leave it, guys.
Let's just close it. That sounds like a great place to stop. Sure.
That's
write
the
that down.
stopping point. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't hesitate and don't be ashamed to shove your product down their throat.
Yeah.
Yeah, your satellite.
As long as
So
it pays
yeah,
you.
we're looking at 2333. That number's
Yeah,
gonna
so,
jump after this stream.
No, that's I just did it. I
That's-
just confirmed.
Oh, you
did?
did.
I got nervous that it was gonna go, so
Yeah, I think she did.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I
Did it refresh?
it did.
Okay.
You got the satellite
Yeah.
girl 11.
Yeah, she's
Yeah,
my
she's her
favorite.
favorite.
I love her.
Right.
Oh, that's
So,
I'm so
and now
glad.
I have to make a account and like buy the tier that I wanted.
Yeah, I had
'cause-
missed it. I guess I didn't keep scrolling past. I got to the retailer tiers, and I was like,
Uh-huh.
"Oh, I'm
Yeah,
not a
whatever, yeah.
retailer," and I didn't keep going, and it was
think you should
there
add on.
underneath the
You should be
retailer
able to.
tiers. Oh yeah, I did. I added on the
Gotcha.
the cover.
I thought it was too on the nose, Mo, to say shove your cock down their throat. But
We
you
were
know,
all
like,
thinking it, Mo.
thank
Yeah.
you for calling me out. We were all thinking it, but thank you for calling it out
Right.
and letting me read the comment rather than saying it out loud and having people think that, I have the filthy mind. It's not a secret.
I
So,
already knew that.
right. So you're at a good total right now. Hopefully we can push a little bit harder, get that $2,500 stretch goal, get
Yeah.
Yeah.
that unlocked. You still got some time. You got a week left.
Yes.
Plenty
Oh, yeah.
of time for you to get
Totally.
another push. That big last days is always a big day for campaigns that have been seeing decent momentum. A lot of people wait for that last opportunity. So, well, sucks for them. The art's gone now. They could still get the book.
There's still other
Yeah.
art, just
There's
not
still other art. Yeah.
Satellite Girl 11. She is mine now.
That's
Now-
great.
now
I'm
we're
really
just gonna
glad.
Get a spot on the wall.
Yes.
All right. So thanks everybody for tuning in and hanging out with us. Thanks so much, Chris, for coming on and talking about Satellite Girl #2 now on
My
Kickstarter and sharing your awesome art and your great story with us. We really appreciate it. If you guys liked the content, please be sure to click the thumbs up, help us in the algorithm, and subscribe if you're not. Don't forget to click the bell for notifications to find out when we go live next.
And tune into the frequency.
We'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.